So, as the offseason starts to wind down and after the draft has happened, people start to question who the best player from the NFL draft is. And we have a lot to choose from. We have Joe Burrow, we have Chase Young, top two picks, very, very talented. We have Jeff Okuda. We have people even taking late rounds like Justin Jefferson, great wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb, also amazing wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy, one of the best route runners in the draft. Honestly, the wide receiver class was so deep this year that any of those stars could really break out within this next season. But I want to take a look at who I think is going to be the best player coming out of this 2020 NFL draft. Before we get too far into it, if you like good gaming and football content, make sure to like the video, comment what you like about it, and hit the subscribe button if you want to. Now, who I think is the best player coming out of the 2020 NFL draft, it's got to be Isaiah Simmons, drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. And I do have to preface, I am a huge Cardinals fan myself. I tried to take no bias in this, and I tried to look at each individual player separately without any biases taken into account. And after watching all the film, I have to say that Isaiah Simmons really is the best player coming out of this draft. And there's many reasons why. I mean, you could see his athleticism. He's a freak athlete. He is one of the fastest players in the draft, and he is a linebacker. He's huge. He's super tall. He's got the stats to back himself up. He could play any position. He is really just so versatile that any defensive coordinator could use him in a way that he likes and he is good at. And that is already amazing. But you could see a lot of different things with him too. You could see, like, he went to Clemson, and Clemson is a very good football school, but it's not like the top like LSU and Alabama. It has won a lot of national championships, I will say, but it's not like it's like, say, the Saints in the NFL right now. It's really, really good, but it's not getting all of those championships every time. So the fact that he was able to stand out and be the third best player in the draft by many people in Clemson already says a lot. But let's take a look at the other people on the draft, drafted before him and maybe even some after him, and why I think they might not do as well in the NFL as him. We start off with Joe Burrow, and I have a bit of a unpopular opinion with Joe Burrow. I think he is a very, very good quarterback. I think he had one of the best college seasons a quarterback can have in football. It was just out of this world. But there's a lot of things that I have doubts with. So, he transferred from Ohio State to LSU. He played one season at LSU, and it was not that great of a season. And then he had the monster season that he's just coming off of. But he's going to the Bengals, too. And I'm sorry, Bengals fans, I don't believe in Zach Taylor. I don't believe in that organization. I don't know if he's going to fare well there. I know they got T. Higgins, too, in the second round. I could also see him being a stud. He is also very, very talented wide receiver. But I don't know if Joe Burrow is going to have the drive to dig that organization out of the pits, you know? That leads me on to Chase Young. And Chase Young, I think, undoubtedly is the best player coming out of this draft, but I don't think he's going to do well in the NFL. Maybe in a couple years he will, but there's one big reason. I think that Chase Young is super talented and he could do good anywhere he goes, but the Redskins, Dan Snyder, I'm sorry, Redskins fans, but Dan Snyder I don't trust him. I don't think he's a good owner. I don't think he's going to lead Chase Young to be in the right direction. I know their defensive line actually did play pretty good, but I don't know if he is the key to unlocking their true potential and pushing them into the next level. And that leads me to Jeff Okuda. And this is kind of the same case with Joe Burrow. Jeff had one really, 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 really good season at Ohio State, and I think he is a super talented cornerback. This is, again, like, I think the Lions actually do have more talent on their team than what they had, what their record showed last season, but I don't know if Jeff Okuda is the person to unlock the potential, because their whole defense it had so many holes, and they still had Darius Slay at that time, who Darius Slay is almost a top cornerback, and they traded him away, which honestly I think was a good choice because they got a lot of capital off of him. But I don't know if Jeff Okuda is the option to fully unlock their defense. So I think Jeff Okuda is going to do well, But I think he's gonna fill the shoes of Darius Slay and kind of follow the same path that he did. That leads me to Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas, I think he's going to play well in the NFL. I know it was a controversial pick who I'm not sure if they should have picked him because his ceiling is not very high, but I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. I mean, not quarterback, offensive lineman who who's not able to take it to the next level and go all-star. I think that he's going to be a super heavy offensive lineman who plays like 15 years in the league and is super respected. I could see that being the outcome of Andrew Thomas. And that leads me to Tua Tagovailoa. And I was actually going to do this video originally on Tua, but then I watched his film and I don't know. I have some doubts with him because I think if he gets the right coaching staff, Tua is going to prosper, especially with Brian Flores. It's going to be amazing. But I know he's got the injury problem. I'm actually not really worried about that. What really, really set me over the edge is as I was editing this video, I saw that the Dolphins paid him 4 years, $30 million. And that is not really how you should start a rookie off. You're putting too much money on him right off the bat. And even if he is a all-star quarterback within his first 2 years, that wasn't the smartest decision. And I don't know, that just brought me down a little bit on him. And I decided to change it to Isaiah. Now, this leads me to Justin Herbert, and it pains me to say this because I really like the guy, but I have so many doubts on if he's going to do even good in the NFL. And this is just because he played so many years in college. He played, I think, all 4 years, and he really didn't have improvement. He was very good from the beginning to the end, and even though he was very good, that's a bad sign if he didn't even improve one bit or in one aspect of his game. That really sets me down. I don't know if he's gonna do really well in the league. And that brings me to Derek Brown, and I was actually struggling picking between Isaiah and Derek Brown because I think Derek Brown, if he gets the right coaching and learns to improve his pass game and his rushing the quarterback, I think he could be the best player coming out of this draft because his run blocking is monstrous. He would stuff offenses. Him alone on the defensive line, he is the key to unlocking a defensive line. Where if they were rushing the quarterback and they got Derek Brown to help against the run, he would be amazing. And I think that Derek Brown has a high potential to become the all-star defensive lineman that a lot of people are thinking he might be. So that brings me to Isaiah Simmons, and what makes me think that Isaiah is going to be the one who is the best coming out of this draft? Well, there's a lot of things. I said his athleticism already. He's also super smart. You could see in a lot of his interviews that he knows offenses, and he is able to read the quarterback before the play actually starts, move into position, and just lock down the play. He's able to cover. He's able to sack the quarterback. He's able to add pressure. He's able to play on the line. He's able to stop the run. There's so many things about him that he's unstoppable. I think the fact that he dropped down to number 8 is a miracle for the Cardinals, and that's weird to say, a person dropped to number 8 that high in the draft class, because, I mean, 8 is really high, but he's still dropped, which is crazy to say. And you got to look at the Cardinals situation, too, because they are a up-and-coming team. Their offense is loaded right now. They got DeAndre, they got Josh Jones added in the 3rd round. They have so much potential to be a high-scoring team, but their defense was a little lackluster last year until the very end of the year. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say that the Cardinals should have taken an offensive lineman with their 8th pick, but if you look at their offensive line play, it really wasn't too bad. It was, especially in the beginning of the season, Kyler Murray took so many sacks on himself. He didn't throw the ball away. If you took Kyler Murray's play at the end of the season and put it in the first game, their sacks would be cut in half, and they could still use some work, which is why they picked up Josh Jones, especially on the offensive tackle position. But they really didn't need too much help. Their defense really needed that help, and they got Devon Kennard, a linebacker in free agency, which I think was a great pickup. But their linebacker role was by far the biggest hole in the entire defense. They were being eaten up by tight ends week after week, especially George Kittle. The first Cardinals and San Francisco game, George Kittle ate up their defense. They needed help there. And they finally got that help with Isaiah Simmons. He is able to take down tight ends just because he's so big, he's so fast. He will be able to lock down George Kittle, or maybe not lock down because George Kittle is an incredible player, but he will be able to help at least control him a little bit. And the Seahawks got Greg Olsen in free agency. Who knows? He might still have some juice left in him, and he might still play amazing. That is why they got Isaiah. He is able to block them. He is able to take them down. And that is just, in the NFC West, such a gift that they could not pass up on him. Now you got to look at his attitude too, because I'm a huge attitude guy. If you don't love the sport, then you are not going to go anywhere in the game. And I think that Isaiah Simmons really, really, really enjoys the game, and you could see, especially in some interviews that they did with him after the draft, he is ready to play in the league, and he is ready to make a difference and help the Cardinals win. And you could see this with all of the players that the Cardinals drafted. Josh Jones had so much emotion. Rashard Lawrence was so happy. Likai Fotu was amazing. Evan Weaver. Their whole team is getting so many players that Isaiah is really, really, really going to prosper there. And that's why I think that Isaiah Simmons is the best player coming out of this 2020 NFL draft. But you tell me, who do you think is the best player coming out of the draft this year? Let me know.